good afternoon. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. And we're syndicated on Abundant TV, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for watching Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. as we get to ride around and hang out together. I really love spending my time with you, so thank you so much for watching. We're going to talk about a few things such as technology. Technology is something you don't have to be afraid of it. It just changes all the time. And all you have to do is keep up with the trends and how everything changes. So I found something through a magazine. Yes, AARP. Yes, I'm old enough to have AARP. Way old enough to. And I really do love some of the articles they have in there. And one of those is a tech guru question. Okay, so here's the question. I have several laptops I no longer use. You almost buy them, they're disposable nowadays, but I'd like to donate responsibly dispose of them. How can I wipe them clean of all personal data? There's a lot of stuff we put on there, we forget about it sometimes. Is there a way to restore them to factory settings like for a phone or a tablet? So this is a question that was asked by Lynn. Okay, so this is from Jason R. Rich. He's the author of AARP Tech How-To Books and Answers. It's important, he says, to remove all personal data from your computer before you get rid of it. I mean, a scammer can come in and take all of your information. Before you know it, you're going to lose some money or something. Who knows? They can get into your banking or whatever. After backing up any needed files onto an external hard drive, or if you can do it in the cloud. If there's some things you just want to make sure you keep. Phil has an external hard drive, and this thing, it's like your entire computer could be saved on it. So it's like a lifetime of information. Now, this is how you do it on the Windows 11 PC, okay? So he's going to show us how to do it on Windows 11 and 10, and then he's going to show us how to do it on Mac as well. Okay, so on a Windows 11 PC, you'll click on the Windows button, and then you'll select Settings. You need to click on System. Then you need to click on Recovery. Then you'll click on Reset PC. Choose to remove everything, okay? Turn on the data erasure option. Now I'm going to repeat this to you, and you can go back and listen to it on the show. We'll just keep it on the air for you forever. Okay, now Windows 11 PC, click on the Windows button on your keyboard, and then you'll select Settings, click on System, click on Recovery, and then you're going to click on Reset PC. Choose Remove Everything. Turn on, right down at the bottom, you'll turn on the data erasure option. That cleans it out for you. Okay, now on Windows 10 PC, a little bit different, so let's talk about that for a second. You'll click on the Windows button and you'll select the Settings. Choose to Update and Security option. Click on Recovery. Now from below the Reset This PC heading, you'll select Get Started. Choose to remove everything, turn on the data erasure. Now for both of the above, the process will delete personal files and installed apps and restore the original settings. And it can take up to 2 hours depending on how old your computer is, okay? And also how much data you may have on it. Okay, now for a Mac computer, this is how you're going to handle that. Click on the Apple icon. From System Settings, go into the General option from the sidebar. Click on Transfer or Reset. Select Erase All Content and Settings. Okay, now for the Mac OS Monterey, what you'll do is click on the Apple icon. Then you're going to choose System Preferences. You'll select Erase All Contents and Settings. Now for both of the above, both of the Apple PCs, then you're going to take these steps. When prompted, log in to the Mac using your credentials. When you see the message you are about to erase all content and settings from this Mac, choose Erase All Content and Settings. and that just completely erases everything. It doesn't say how long it takes on the Mac, but on the PC, I've had to do that before. So on the PC, it does take a little bit longer, I think, than it does for a Mac. Now, before we go into a break, I want to talk to you about your dog electronic collars. Keep tabs on your dog's activity. If you live in a small neighborhood, or maybe your dog is just aggressive, like our dog is, like he's super sweet to us, but he can be just a pain. Like when somebody comes over to the house, he just barks and won't shut up. The male person, he does that to them. He just, he's very, very secure about how he takes care of us. Phil and me, that's what he lives for. Okay, so any dog owner knows that their pet can get pretty obsessive about daily walks. Now you can keep track of every step they take. Just as people have fitness band and watches to monitor their activity, dogs can have smart collars that do the same thing. And as they get older, they're just not quite as active. Like Buddy, I mean, he barks and stuff like that, but he's part German Shepherd and part Lab. So you can just about imagine he probably weighs about 80-something pounds. And so he gets a little bit of flab on him during the wintertime, and they do that to stay warm. And then in the summertime, he tends to lose a little bit of weight. So he just is like this yo-yo thing going on with him. So this helps you to keep access to the exercise they're getting, because pets need exercise just like we do. They absolutely do. So just as people have fitness bands and watches to monitor their activities, dogs have smart collars that do roughly the same thing. Deliver daily data to a phone app with information such as a number of steps taken, distance walked, and the amount of time spent sleeping. According to one such device, the author right here says, and this is by Craig Rosen, by the way, he says, my 12-year-old Boxweiler Milo snoozes nearly 14 hours a day. My sleep-deprived wife expressed her envy. Among the smart collars on the market are Fi, that's F-I, and this is from Barking Labs. There's another one called Whistle Health and Halo 2 Plus. Dog trainer Janine Pierce of Southern California told this author that these collars have an effect similar to that of fitness bands for people, and they can get pets to move more. And she also said, I think the dog activity tracker is fun and useful. It keeps me motivated to give my own dog enough exercise. So there you go. So you can actually get a fitness little indicator for your dogs as well. Now, while we're on technology, let's talk about diagnosing your phone battery. Back in the day, I used to be in the cell phone business in the 80s, and this is when like hardly anybody had a cell phone. So we all had to learn, this new technology called a cell phone. Back in the day, we all started, excuse me, we started out with analog phones. And now the digital phones. Analog phones, I used to work in Anniston, and I remember the guys I sold a ton of phones to these guys who used to sell cars in Anniston, and they said that you could get a scanner and you could listen to phone conversations, and they were listening to people's, affairs and everything else they were having. Now, so you guys shouldn't be doing that, but they did anyway. But back then, if you had to let the battery drain all the way down, if you didn't, what would happen is those batteries in those analog phones would build up a memory. And so some of my customers, and even though I would tell them, they'd forget, and I would say, now look, you need to let the battery drain all the way down, because if you don't let the battery drain all down, it's going to soon get to where it thinks, like, if you're putting it on the charger like every 5 hours, it's going to think, ooh, every 5 hours I've got to be recharged. So there was a way to drain it down and get it to go back through resetting again. So let's talk about our digital phones, because now what we have is a digital platform. So if your smartphone is running out of juice faster than it used to, you might not need a new one. So they're going to tell us what to do. A less expensive fix could be just to replace the battery. Yes, this can be done even though the phone is sealed shut. Now, this is how you can find out how much your battery health is on your cell phone. So to check your battery's health on an iPhone, what you want to do is open Settings, and then you'll tap the battery, and then the battery health and charging. Now note that the percentage next to the maximum capacity, that indicates how the battery has been degraded over time. Now if this number shows below 80%, it should be replaced. Now, mine, I checked mine just a few minutes ago, and mine was showing 100%. I've had this phone for probably a good couple of years. But now I don't charge it unless it's got to be charged. It has to drain, I mean, smoking all the way down before I will charge it. Okay, now on a Samsung Galaxy, let me tell you what you can do. A popular line of Android phones launch settings, and then what you'll do is tap the battery and then the device care. Then you'll tap on diagnostics and then battery status. Samsung will either show its status as normal or show a message that means it's ready for replacement. All right, now let's show you, I'm going to tell you how to replace the battery, because these things are like all locked in. You can't take batteries off like you used to. How to replace the battery: take the phone to an authorized service provider. You could void the warranty if you do it yourself, is what I'm assuming. If there's no longer under warranty, replacement battery service for an iPhone can cost $69. And then Androids do, the cost on those do vary. Now, how to keep your phone functioning. Many consumers today are holding on to their phones for years. Consumer Intelligence Research Partners reported that as of September, only 39% of phone buyers had owned their previous phone for less than 2 years, while 29% had their previous phone for 3 years or longer. I say if it ain't broke, don't fix it, okay? Leave it alone. These are good phones, they're good, but now I will have to tell you this. I have learned this the absolute hard way. I used to break screens on these continuously, and it costs a lot of money to replace these phones. And so I just go around with it, and it'd just be barely hanging on. There'd be glass on it. It's a wonder I didn't catch some kind of an infection from it. So now I always make sure I've got my phone in the case, okay? I always have a good case with these. And they're not that expensive anymore, so they've actually went down in price. Back in the day, the cases, like the Armor cases, those were like almost $50 back then. So now I think you get them for about $20 or so. Let's go ahead and cut into a commercial break, and we're going to be right back in just a few minutes. So you hang in there, okay?
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Case with these, and they're not that expensive anymore, so they've actually went down in price. Back in the day, the cases, like the armor cases, those were like almost $50 back then. So now I think you get them for about $20 or so. Let's go on ahead and cut into a commercial break, and we're going to be right back in just a few minutes, so you hang in there, okay? Okay, we are back. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on ISC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant Television found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We are back. We're going to talk about 8 habits that are raising your blood pressure. We got to be careful with that when we start getting this age, don't we? Hypertension is commonly called the silent killer. I want to keep you around, so let's listen to these, okay? It's a leading risk factor for stroke, heart attack, and heart failure. But while exercise, medication, and going easy on the salt shaker are all important at keeping our blood pressure down, you may be undoing all that good with a handful of personal habits that could put you at increased risk. Ask yourself if any of these factors affect you. Okay, so pressure point 1. You're an antisocial woman or an overly social man. Let's talk, what do they mean by that? Okay, as a species, we're not meant to be without other people. So if you're socially isolated, it raises your cortisol levels to put you in a fight or flight response. This is a study Conklin conducted of 28,238 adults ages 45 to 85. They found that women being single, having limited social activity, or being part of a small social network was linked to higher average blood pressure. Okay, interestingly though, Conklin's study found that men who lived alone or had a small social network were less likely to have high blood pressure than those who lived with others or had large networks. It's unclear whether the difference was due to biological reasons or simply because there was just less stigma around men going at it alone. That said, feeling isolated, not good for your arteries. Another smaller study of adults ages 50 to 68 found that those with the highest scores on the loneliness survey had a blood pressure, the first number in a blood pressure reading, that was 10 to 30 points higher than those of their less lonely counterparts. You hold it in. Number two, pressure point number 2. You hold it in when you have to let it go. A full bladder raises blood pressure. I didn't know that. By about 10 to 15 points, explains Luke Laffin, MD, co-director of the Center for Blood Pressure Disorders at the Cleveland Clinic. That's why he and his colleagues encourage people to urinate before they measure their blood pressure. I wondered. Partially, particularly if they're doing so to monitor the medication they're taking at home. It's fine to hold it in if you're in a situation where you cannot urinate frequently or freely, but if you can use the restroom, then you shouldn't necessarily delay. Do a preemptive pee before going to the theater and beginning a long car ride. What is it about me when I go somewhere? I will not have to go to the restroom and then get down the road 10 minutes and I need to go. Is this just me, or are all women that way? Speaking of urination, getting up frequently at night to relieve yourself may be the sign of hypertension. If your blood pressure is elevated, that causes the body to say, I need to lower my blood pressure. One way to do that is to urinate. Okay, number 3, pressure point 3. You haven't had your thyroid checked in a while. Both overactive and underactive thyroids can raise blood pressure. A severely overactive thyroid can boost your risk of cardiovascular issues. This Dr. Bloom encourages patients to get their levels checked annually or every 6 months if they've had a strong family history of thyroid disease or symptoms. And if you're on thyroid medication, make sure you're taking it as prescribed. Now, skipping medicine for low thyroid doesn't often cause high blood pressure, but missing medicine for high thyroid can be problematic. Pressure point number 4. You pass on the produce. Having too much sodium is a long-established catalyst for hypertension, but consuming a diet rich in produce can help counter these effects, according to the potassium found in many fruits and vegetables. I love fruits and vegetables, don't you? Potassium decreases blood pressure by causing our bodies to release sodium. Men should aim for 3,400 milligrams of potassium per day, and women need about 2,600. There's no need to take potassium supplements unless your doctor recommends this. Now, foods including bananas, dried fruit, potatoes, and beans will help keep your salt-potassium ratio in check. Now, about 75% of the sodium that most people consume is already in food when they buy it. And that's like your canned goods and stuff like that. If you eat out a lot, you're going to be eating a lot of salt. Swapping out processed food and eating 4 to 5 servings of fruit and 4 to 5 servings of vegetables per day is the key to reducing that sodium and upping your potassium. Man, it's a good thing we got all these fruit trees and all this stuff around here. Okay, pressure point number 5. Okay, you relax with a drink or two. A study of more than 17,000 U.S. adults found that just about 7 to 13 drinks per week substantially raises one's risk of high blood pressure. Moderate drinkers were 53% likely to have stage 1 hypertension and twice as likely to have stage 2 hypertension than participants who didn't drink. That percentage got higher with the more drinks a person had. Now, Dr. Weldon warns that even drinking too much in one sitting can spike your blood pressure over the next few days. Stick to the rule of thumb of 1 or 2 drinks per day for men and 1 for women, or Donna Fiesel says, how about none? That would be even better. Okay, pressure point number 6. I think we got time for these. You take medication your cardiologist doesn't know about. Ooh. Okay, in one study, 18.5% of adults with hypertension reported taking a medication that contributed to increased blood pressure. There are several medications that can do it, notes Dr. Carey. He's a director for the Interventional Cardiology Center for Tufts Medical Center and a professor of medicine at the Tufts University School of Medicine. Okay, see, this is what he says. Okay, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, that's NSAIDs, such as naproxen, Aleve, and ibuprofen, and decongestants like Sudafed, which contain this ingredients known to increase high blood pressure. Some antidepressants can also be culprits. Always ask your cardiologist about new medications before taking them. Okay, pressure point number 7. You have erratic bedtimes. People who don't get 6 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep can have elevated blood pressure. Laffin says, several studies have found that sleepless nights raise blood pressure not only throughout the night, but the next day as well. For quality sleep, go to bed and wake up the same time every day. Avoid drinking and eating 90 minutes before bed, and don't watch television in bed. And if you're snoring, grasping for air in the night, or exceptionally tired during the day, get checked for sleep apnea. Treating this lowers blood pressure by 3 to 4 points in the average individual, Laffin says. Okay, now pressure point number 8. You're toughing it out with chronic pain. Ongoing pain issues can cause chronically elevated blood pressure, according to Laffin, and taking NSAIDs for more than a week to try to manage your pain can raise your risk even more. So if you have pain that lasts for more than a few weeks, see your physician. And don't delay needed operations such as knee or hip replacements. Treat the underlying cause of the pain, and then the blood pressure elevation will definitely go away. Before we go, we're going to talk about chocolate. He doesn't want to end things on a good note, like chocolate. You're always hearing, don't eat too much chocolate. You know, chocolate can actually be good for you. So let's talk about that just for a few minutes. Are you loco for cocoa? I am. I love chocolate. Some chocolates can actually help reduce your heart disease risk. So to pick the best bar, let's read on about this, okay? So if you're going to give your heart to someone this Valentine's Day, or you already have, like we have, make it a healthy one. Replace that junky chocolate with a version that can boost cardiovascular health. The Kao bean, which is what chocolate is made of, is high in heart-healthy flavonoids and antioxidants. Okay, for a snack you can eat every day, switch to dark chocolate bars and take a close look at the labels. And here's what you need to look out for. Here are the ingredients. As with any food, the fewer the better. So high-end chocolate is made with only cocoa beans, cocoa butter, and cane sugar. Okay, so that's why you want to choose dark chocolate. Now sugar, aim for 8 grams or less per ounce. Yeah, but that sugar is what makes it good. Okay. If you have diabetes, look for options made with sugar alternatives such as stevia. Now fiber, dark chocolate isn't a great source of gut healthy fiber. Some choices, however, offer up to 2 grams of fiber per ounce. Additions, natural add-ins like almonds or cherries can contribute health benefits to your chocolate, but avoid concocted ingredients such as caramel, which, while delicious, can add sugar and not much less, about all it does for you. Okay, now serving size. As tempting as it might be to devour an entire bar, the nutrition facts may apply to only a few squares, so make sure you watch the portion sizes. Ideally, limit yourself to 1 to 2 ounces per day is what the doctor says. Okay, so buzzwords. Dairy-free is a popular label term, but quality dark chocolate is naturally dairy-free and often organic as well. I didn't know that. Okay, now chocolate, here's the gourmet's delight, okay? Gourmet delight. Chocolate, like wine, reflects the terroir of where it's grown. For instance, chocolate made from Madagascar often has this citrusy-like notes. From Venezuela, it may taste like red fruit, Belize of fudge, Ecuador of slightly floral flavors, says Kim Hack of Chicago's Cocoa Plus Company. Many small farmers grow organic cocoa but can't afford the certification that's required to use the term on food labels. And like we've always said before, make sure you read labels really, really good, okay? And on the label, we've always talked about this, okay? On the label, the very first ingredient you see is what this product has the most of, and then as it goes down. So if you say something that's mostly sugar, you might want to get away from that product and go for one that has mostly cocoa in it. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IAC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications Abundant TV. We're found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching. You're the apple of my eyes. You sure are. Thank you again so much for watching. You have a great one.